All right, I'm just going to walk through some assignment tips for week 3. Our week 3 assignment is up on Blackboard now. And so, again, we're going to be working a little bit with Excel and Google Sheets just to get us used to playing around and using that utility. It's going to come in handy later. And so an optional Excel warm-up, which I think is a good thing to do, but I'm not going to require it, is to go through here and look at tuition and break things down in that sort of way. Find ways to compute averages, look at mean, median, mode, start comparing things, getting used to playing around with Excel and the like. But the actual assignment starts right here. And so I ask you to open the file US tax rates. It shouldn't say adjusted for inflation. It's just the US tax rates. Nominal, I'll say, from year to year. And what it is it's this federal income, individual income tax rate history. And so what I'm going to ask you to do, and this dates from 2013 all the way back to past 1913. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to assign each of you, and I already have, a year. All right, 87, 92, 97, so on and so forth. All right, and I want you to, in our Google Docs sheet, play around with some of these three questions involving that data. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is take the year you've been assigned and calculate the value in your year's dollars of the following amounts from today: 50,000, 100,000, and $1 million. So what that means is, sorry, went a little too quick, is here I've compiled, I actually did it for 2007 and 1915, just to show you some vast difference is between those years and what inflation can really do over time. Here I've gathered the 2007 average CPI. Right, in other words, my years right here. I gathered the 2007 average CPI, all right, which I got from the source we used in our notes, as well as the estimated CPI for 2017. All right, and so what this did is, in green is $50,000 today, for example, here, right? And then here in red, I've computed what that would actually be, or what that value would be in 2007 dollars. So $42,000 and change in 2007 would buy you, right, the same amount of goods and services that $50,000 would today. So the value of the dollar, one single dollar, has lost value over time, right? You need more money to purchase the same amount of goods and services. All right. Likewise, I've computed 100,000 equivalent in 2007 dollars and 1 million. And so after that, I went through, and just to familiarize myself and you all, really, with taxable income brackets, I went through and I found on our sheet, right, on this sheet here, the 2007, all right, married filing jointly nominal tax brackets, right? So right here is the one we're going to use, married and filing jointly, all right? And so I found the rates that were at that time, and now rates might be different depending on what year it is because the tax code has changed. So I found the different brackets, rates for our brackets. I found the lower bounds, in other words, over $0 and under or equal to $15,650 pays a 10% federal tax rate, right? And 15% goes from over $15,650 to $63,700. Now, this was in 2007. Now notice it's got the red of 2007 as the background. Okay, so what I've done over here is I've computed an inflation-adjusted taxable income. In other words, what does that look like in 2017 dollars? Well, the lower bound would be 0 to 18,443. The lower bound from the second bracket, the 15% bracket, would be 18,443 then, up to 75,000, and so on and so forth. So these are the bracket breakdowns. Now what I included is, I included the 2017 actual tax brackets. So this is what the 2007 brackets would look like if we come over here, if we adjusted them according to inflation. And then this is what they actually look like. And so it's quite close, actually, in actuality. All right, some of these numbers, all right, look like they've increased fairly appropriately with time, with inflation. Now, that's going to differ drastically from 1915, all right, where we had 7 tax brackets with rates from 1 to 7%, and the brackets broke down in here. All right. Well, now the 1% range went from in inflation adjusted taxable income. So in 2017 dollars, this lower tax bracket would be 0 to almost $500,000. Right? That would cover anyone from earning $0 to almost $500,000. Right? Would pay that 1%. All right, and then things increase likewise up here. And again, I put the 2017 brackets over here for comparison. And so again, likewise up here, I took these values in $50,000, $100,000, and $1 million dollars in today's value, and looked at what they would be in terms of $1915. All right, and the difference is fairly drastic, obviously. All right, now that's a long time. That's over 100 years. So what I'm asking you all to do is go back through some more recent years and do the same sort of thing. They're filled with some breakdowns. There you go. Some details, but you can definitely use my two as examples, and even hunt through and try to figure out, all right, what computations am I making, because that's important. However, I expect you to be able to do those and understand what these things are on your own. So that's that first part of the assignment. All right. A, B, and C here. All right, and so feel free to, once you compare your results, in your mind, note any interesting observations in the content discussion board. So that's a group assignment in terms of we will, all see that. From there, the individual things that you will turn into me are only these 3 problems. All right, and so I feel like they're fairly straightforward. They are easily done in Excel. All right, and you can submit the actual Excel file to me this time. But if you have any questions from there, don't hesitate to ask. Also included on our Blackboard page is an extra credit assignment. Some of you missed a deadline. This would make up for it. All right, and if you haven't missed a deadline, this would be an extra credit boost to your homework grade. All right, and so there are 5 questions, I believe. That's what I'm going to ask you to do. Submit them all in terms of extra credit, and I would ask you to turn in at the same time you turned in the week 3 assignment.